Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time for the paper review, and joining us this morning is Kehinde Nwandu, is the executive editor, CKN News. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. With love from Scotland.
Fantastic. All right, let's get into the papers this morning. We'll begin with The Guardian. The Guardian leads with World Bank admits Nigeria's economic progress, says prices remain high. On the Nigerian Tribune is also about the World Bank that says Nigeria's economy needs to generate better jobs, reduce poverty. And the writers here says commends Nigeria's growth trajectory, says economy recorded fastest growth in about a decade in 2024. Wants pace of growth to accelerate further and projects inflation to fall to average of 22.1% in 2025. So seeing this, my first take was, wait, what? How do we record the fastest growth in about a decade? Because everybody right now is complaining how the economy is in the best, inflation is at an all-time high, we don't have the the purchasing power to even get anything. And so even seeing this on paper, I'm wondering, how did this happen, and why is it not reflecting in the daily lives of Nigerians? I want to get your take on this. So the first story is World Bank admits Nigeria's economic progress, says prices remain high, and Nigeria's economy needs to generate better jobs and reduce poverty.
Well, I see a lot of contradiction in what
the World Bank,
the World Bank saying with the IMF. What do you expect? They are the ones practically in charge of our economic policies. Whatever they say is what our government go cap in hand to implement, and that is where we find ourselves. So, until we're able to find a more homegrown system of being able to take charge of our economy and hit the ground running and do the needful, is what we continue to get. But for IMF, for instance, a lot of tributes will come to Nigeria because we just pay off certain debts we owe them, except for the what you call accruable interest. And so whatever they come up with is based on the policies of which they have recommended to the government, which our government always take hook, line, and sinker without even looking at the implication. But we that are on ground, Nigerians know for a fact that there has not been any level of improvement in our lives. Rather, things are getting worse economically. Just barely going to the nearest markets close to you there will indicate that how much is the price of beans, how much is the price of rice, how much is the price of yam, or gari, even our own local gari, including gari gel, how much of the prices. When you compare that with the prices, let's say about a year ago, about 2 years ago, when this current government took over, then you just know that it's nothing to believe until whatever policy the government will put in place, especially economic policies, be able to make a direct impact on the lives of Nigeria, and it reflects in the way we do things and the way we then whatever anybody is saying is just what I think we also has called Turuchi in just English language, blabbing. Even within the economy itself, the access them how much is naira to the dollar. As of now, it should be about 1,600 thereabouts. Is that the best we can have? Companies are closing on a daily basis. The tariff on petroleum product, the price of petrol product is fluctuating up and down. 900 today, 860 tomorrow, 950 next tomorrow, and the likes. And you ask yourself, what is happening? Electricity is out of reach for so many people. So many people cannot even afford to pay for electricity now. And there's even the proposal that more tariff is going to be imposed on this. So when you look at this generally, you just come to realize that whatever these international monetary policies that funding agencies are talking about, in terms of improvement in the lives of Nigeria, does not reflect at all, and I totally don't believe what they're saying.
All right, there's something else that the World Bank also said. It says on the Daily Trust, World Bank queries NNPCL's remittance of subsidy proceeds. So when the president assumed office on May 29, 2023, the first thing that he said, the first statement that was that everybody was like, wow, was the fact that subsidy is gone. And since then, we've obviously seen the price of petrol fluctuates, and right now you're wondering, where is the money that was being taken out for subsidy, and what is the money being used for? So you would expect that because subsidy is gone, now they want to use that money to help with the development, infrastructural development, maybe education, healthcare, whatnot, but we cannot really ascertain what they're using the money for. And the World Bank here right now queries the NNPCL's remittance of the subsidy proceeds. What's your take on this? And piggybacking off the fact that in the past, the World Bank has also said that the NNPCL is not transparent. So where are we right now?
We don't need the World Bank or IMF to tell us that the NNPC is not transparent. Just recently, there are some reports from the graph agencies of certain directors of recently started directors of NNPC having billions and billions of naira in their accounts. If that's not an evidence, then what it is? But when you talk about the issue of money from subsidy, of course, we know that there has been an increase, a spike in FAC, the money coming from FAC, and that is being reflected in what the states are getting presently. The state and the federal government are getting close to about 2 times what they used to have in the past since the removal of subsidies. So the question is going to be asking is that what have the state governments done with the new money that is in their coffer? Same with government. At the federal level, I think to a large extent, that you've seen some projects, there be some projects going on, infrastructure in terms of roads, new roads, and some other basic infrastructures, some welfare activities here and there, although I cannot see the effect. But at least you can see, even in Abuja, the massive projects being undertaken by the FCT minister. Those are part of the money that we bet. The question that we're in a state, a situation where we have 3 layers of government, we have the federal, state, and local government. The question you ask yourself, of all the money, additional money that is trickling to also be to the state government as well as the local government, what are the different? And that is where we're supposed to be focusing ourselves and asking questions. Rather than this mad rush for 2027, when this current government is just barely 2 years into office, everybody's now talking about 2027. When the basic promises made to Nigerians during the campaign in 2023 have barely been implemented. You see the serious economic problem Nigerians are facing. You see the serious level of insecurity ravaging all parts of the country. Soldiers being killed, bandits taking over, payment of ransom have become the norm, and so many other levels of insecurity and economic woes that Nigerians are going through. And so people are just sitting down, they are talking about who to endorse, who not to endorse in 27. We've not even gone halfway. It will be halfway on the 29th of May, 2025, this month. So we've not even gone halfway of 4 years. Everybody, our politicians are talking about now is 2027. Nobody's talking seriously about governance as it were. So, as I said, we don't need IMF or World Bank to tell us the rot going on within the oil industry or the NNPC as well. I've always said this time and time again that while people continue to say that the police is the most corrupt agency in Nigeria, I tend to be not to believe them. I believe agencies like NNPC are the most. How much police get? Is it the 200 naira they collect on the road that we're talking about? We're talking about people stealing billions and billions of naira on a daily basis. And that in itself is brought within our oil sector, and we provide almost 95% of our exports. So, until we start building our eye and being searchlight into the activities of NNPC and the other relevant agencies of government, we'll continue to find ourselves where we are. And those allegations, of course, can be proven if we take a proper forensic analysis of what is going on in these agencies.
I totally agree with you, especially with corruption, because that's where you hear about oil theft. Maybe you see a vessel on the sea and then they tell you that, oh, they burnt out the vessel, and you're wondering, did you burn the vessel with the contents in it? Bunkering in the Niger Delta region. You hear of an NNPC official who they found over 80 billion naira in his account. All of these things. And sometimes I wonder what the government is doing to fight corruption, especially with the past administration that made it, their logo or their signage for the entire time that we're fighting corruption, but we're still seeing corruption eat deeply into the society, and I wonder what's going on with that. Anyways, on the nation leads with FEC OK's plans to reduce cost of medicines, create jobs. The writer here says Medipool to drive down costs, improve access to high quality pharmaceutical products, and inside all of this is policy on job creation revived, creative industry to facilitate 2 million jobs by 2027, federal workers get group life assurance policy, and 2.3 billion naira procurement of cardiac catheterization machine. Now, looking at this, I remember sometime last year we heard of so many pharmaceutical companies having to leave Nigeria, and of course, if the business environment isn't, flourishing or thriving enough for you, you can understand why they would have to leave. And so many pharmacies couldn't even stock medicines. People who are diabetic, people who deal with high blood pressure, they couldn't even find medicines, and the ones that you see, they're so expensive. So seeing the fact that FEC is obviously trying to okay the plans to reduce the cost of medicine, how do you think this would work, and are we really going to see an impact, or is it just something that they come to say, promises that are being made, and for Nigerians it will just be wishful thinking?
The partner said it all. I think I'm not to add. You said it all. You've analyzed the problem as it is, and we've started solutions. Our problem has not always been, the problem for Nigeria has not been the robust policies that we put in place, or even the laws that we have within our law books or constitution. The problem has always been implementation, and just as rightly said, you're talking about reducing the cost. How do we reduce the cost? If you know the cost of drugs, even the lowest of drugs that we think that anybody can get for headache and rest for them, so how expensive those drugs are now, that is out of the reach of common man. Are you going to import those that are already manufacturing pharmaceutical companies in Nigeria? Are you going to give them incentives? Are you going to reduce? Are you to take up taxes? Because if you see how much tax most of these pharmaceutical companies are paying every time, FIRS, LIRS are always disturbing them, giving them all sorts of billions and millions of naira to pay in taxes. Because the essence of government is provision of security and making life much better for the people. So if you are talking about reducing, in what essence, in what way are you going to encourage more pharmaceutical companies to manufacture more, and if they're able to manufacture more, you're going to reduce the cost of importation of some of these drugs. Those are the issues. So, talking about policies and several policies, or what you call it, most of those things don't work. Even the HMOs, how many of them have been able to deliver? And you take over an HMO, and based on the organization you work with, and so you can go to the hospital and you can be treated. Only for you to get there, they say your limit is 20,000 naira. So even when they say 20,000 naira and hospital is billing you 100,000, that means the shortfall of 80,000 you have to pay. So there is so much in place for me on the issue of the vet. If you know just that we don't have statistics, our statisticians are not giving us the right statistics. You know the number of people that are dying on the daily basis because they cannot pay afford drugs. Is very, very alarming. And those are the basic things in developed countries. The health of their people are taken seriously. That some countries are making it possible for you to just walk into the hospital if you're sick and get the necessary drugs. In fact, at times they send you a reminder and say you're supposed to come today or tomorrow or next tomorrow for your checkup and next of them. You understand what I mean? It's easy. You didn't get it on your phone, and you just go. In fact, if you don't come at time, the calling it back, the point at which they disturb you yourself will be forced to go there. That is because we don't have some policies there. So, I just want to take it to the pinch of salt and say how the past that there have been so many policies in the past, but the government has to say what has come working out of it.
Well, I think the thing is we just have to be optimistic. There are so many reforms that are happening all at the same time in Nigeria. And I guess maybe what the government is trying to do is just cast their net and see what happens. So we hope that all of these reforms would yield dividends, especially with the health sector has a, there's a whole lot of things that are happening there, loopholes that needs to be plugged in and ensure that, because health is wealth, and if you do not have healthy citizens, then what's happening? You don't even have a country to rule. So hopefully with this, like you said, we take it with a pinch of salt and be optimistic about it, that it would obviously pan out the way it's supposed to be. All right, we'll take one more story here, and this is more about politics matters. So it says 2027 amid, and it's on the Guardian, 2027 amid pushback, zoning complaints, others, PDP explores reconciliation. There's another one here on The Nation that says PDP governors rally to hold party together. The writer here says efforts fruitless, party is dead, says Ganduje. Wike to challenge dropping of Anyanwu as secretary. With the PDP, right, there's a whole lot that's happened, especially, and I think the biggest move was the fact that everyone in Delta States, the governor, the ex-governor, the House of Assembly members, all moved to APC, the ruling party right now. And PDP has, seen a bit of a shake at the moment. So how do you think, them rallying around to hold the party together, what do you think they need to do right now to save this party?
Well, the best part is that they have to look themselves straight in the eyes and tell themselves the truth and face the truth squarely as it were, no matter who's causing God. If there are certain people that they believe that causing a lot of anti-party activities within the party, then you have to do what you have to do is to make sure that you're able to either remove them or sack them from the party and start rebuilding. So that when you have those in the party that continue to say, they'll say good morning in the morning, when you go out, it's already afternoon, and there's people two from both sides of their mouth. One leg is in PDP, one is in APC, another one is MPP. Then it becomes a challenge and becomes a problem. The issue we have in Nigeria is that most people cannot play opposition. Once you find yourself in opposition and your bread is not being buttered from both sides of the divide, then they cannot say what they need to do is start moving, because most of them don't have any other job than politics. They don't have a second job. If you have a second job and you know that politics service and not able to do what you're supposed to do, then you go back to your normal job, but they don't have anything to fall back. That's why you see some of them 2 years after leaving power, they have nothing to show for it. So, for PDP, they should be able to rally themselves, as I said, look themselves straight in the mirror, tell themselves the basic truth, and stop deceiving themselves and believe that somebody is causing their problem. If they can be able to do that, it's still 2 years ahead, they can be able to rally around. But as it is presently, it's just that Chibe said things fall apart. Things seem to have fallen apart, the center doesn't seem to be holding. But it's not too far. I think that they can be able to get it right. But being in opposition has always been a challenge in Nigeria, so most people cannot be able to play opposition politics. So that's why you see them jumping ship, jumping the ruling party, endorsing and not endorsing, and the rest of them. That is what is happening.
And with the ruling party, there's someone had said, oh, the moment you come to APC, all your sins are forgiven. So of course, most of these people want to jump ship because of that, knowing that maybe whatever skeletons they have in their cupboards is going to be covered if they join the ruling party. But honestly, I think, you want to say something?
Yeah, they have to be careful as well. Or the time that the party said that they're going to do for 60 years. But they don't know how many years, was it 18 years or how many years were they, 16 years. And they told that they are trying to say that the biggest party and largest party in Africa, where are they today? So the ABC itself should also be very, very careful, because they both disagree. Before you have been a whole opposition within the party, some are very people who know that are finally not be able to make their way in the party. Now want to break it. Before we see a lot of movement, even the ruling party will be shocked. Because some people might not be able to get the necessary impact they want or the position they want, or they will have to leave the party and join another party. That is how it always goes. So And those you are not really fighting, some people just come from another party and want to put themselves on you. And there's always think over the structure of the party, think over there's always this issue. So the ABC as a political party is right there, thinking about all this, this glorious or moment of everybody is coming to a party. That in itself also cause some problem for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
What we need.
Yeah, and I think because everybody have their own ambition, so imagine if everybody is in one party, who would step down for who? But yes, we'll just see how it goes, because 2027 is still a long time, as you said. Other parties are definitely going to be making moves, so we'll just wait to see what moves they make. But honestly, I think PDP, they have a whole lot of work to do with their own party, ensuring that they can be a formidable force come 2027, and not just PDP, Labour Party, NNPP, all the other parties, just ensuring that they can stand as a strong opposition party come 2027, because everybody wants options. We want to try to vote the leaders that we want, and we need the options, so why not? Anyways, Chris, I want to say thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure reviewing the papers with you. Thank you for your time this morning, and we hope that you're enjoying Scotland and you'll be back to Nigeria soon, because we need you back here.
Thank you very much. My last thing on this is that let our leaders focus on providing necessary promises in Nigeria. We have a lot. 2027 is a long way. This focus on 2027 is a lot of distraction, and it's depriving Nigerians of the basic necessities of democracy, for which and I've said it and what we are seeing in CBD, we are not having democracy as it is.
I have a question.
Providing the necessary.
Yeah, I have a question. Would you say that? Yeah, so you are saying that everybody right now is focusing on 2027. Would that be because maybe we've accepted our fate, that this is where we are, this is what the economy is going to be, this is how Nigeria is going to be, and we're trying to just move on and say, you know what, maybe 2027 might just be a clean slate for us?
Well, the answer is because Nigeria don't count. If I put their Nigerian counts, most of them continue to because they know that definitely they don't deliver, they will be voting that next election. But they know that they don't need to vote, all they need to just write the result. And I think we just be a very easy place to be able to place this thing that and that's not if they do,
right.
And if they know that you're supposed to count, then we stand up for Nigeria.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so we're speaking with Chris Kehinde Nwandu, is the executive editor, CKN News. And we've just been taking the global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing the fact that the World Bank has slammed Nigeria's electricity subsidy as wasteful and urges further reforms. Please stay with us.